And we're letting in a couple more teachers. So this is a record number of teachers, a record number of guests, and a record number of classes on our schedule for the remainder of 2021. And we feel like we've got a lot of great things to offer, and you guys are the talent and our students love it. So we're going to go through and share with people what it is we have to offer. The process is this: we've got a roster of order, and they're going to take about 3 to 5 minutes to present about their classes. We're going to highlight them or spotlight them. And then once, if there are questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or type it in the chat if that feels more comfortable. Any class that's $50 or less or knit along, you can sign up for within the next 24 hours over the phone only, and get $5 off your class. If it's over $50, the students can get $10 off their class. We can't do this online, so this requires a phone call. I'm going to stay here till 7 o'clock tonight, and then anybody that's here today can call in anytime tomorrow and take advantage of this discount too. So what else do we need to remind them or say?
That sounds good. I think we can jump into it.
All right. So our first teacher that we want to feature, I just saw her. Where is Sarah White? Sarah White is our weaving instructor. She taught online on Zoom when we first started, and now she's in the classroom. Tell us what you do, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm a weaver. I love all kinds of weaving. But the main things that I've been teaching at the shop are rigid heddle weaving and harness loom weaving on the table looms. Table loom weaving can easily translate into floor loom weaving. So it's a really nice way to kind of get introduced to a harness loom without having something really huge to have to lug around to and from class. Later on in the year, there's going to be another introduction to rigid heddle weaving, and you'll learn all the basics, everything about the loom, how to thread it, how to do plain weave, how to use pickup sticks, and it really covers all the nuts and bolts and will set a great framework for continuing on with your weaving career. There's one other rigid heddle class that is up now. It was full, but one of my students emailed me today that she had to drop out because she's traveling to see her 90-year-old dad and doesn't want to risk being around other people before she leaves. So there's going to be one spot left in a scarf class that I've been calling Spaced and Crammed. So there's one spot left in this. It's using Jaeger spun yarn. So it's a light and airy scarf. And then there are 2 other table loom classes coming up. One is a houndstooth plaid scarf, which I have here. It's a tutu twill with lots of color shifts. So it's a great way to start learning how to use multiple colors in your warp and in your weft. And then I'll also be having tips and tricks for weavers of any kind, really, going over yarn weights, yarn combinations, how colors interact in woven cloth, and just a lot of nitty-gritty information that people want to know about without having to do a million samples. Granted, samples, you're always going to sample, and I highly recommend them, but I'm going to bring in tons of pieces that I've done to just kind of give you a feel of different outcomes you can get with your weaving. Then the final class that I'll have this year is a dish towel class, also on the 4 harness loom. It's a set of 3 dish towels. It's all from one warp, but the weft color switches from towel to towel, giving each one a unique feel. In this class too, I'm going to go over cutting and sewing hand wovens that can be really intimidating, especially after you've spent so much time and effort working on your hand woven product. So I thought it'd be really nice to be able to bring those in and do it together to get your dish towels all finished with a nice rolled hem. So hopefully I'll see some of you at one of these variety of classes that I have going before the year is out. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know, shout them out. If not, no problem.
All right. All right. Well, Sarah gets a lot of great feedback from her students. Very patient, organized, thorough, deliberate. It's great to have you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail.
All right. Well, if there's no questions, we're going to transition over to Teresa. Teresa is one of our staff members here at Longmont Yarn Shop. She's been at the store for, I think, 5 years. And she does a lot of crochet private lessons and knit-alongs, and she's going to talk to you about the Stephen West knit-along.
Hi, everybody. The Stephen West Mystery Knit-Along is going to be October 8th from 5 to 6:30. I can't show you what we're going to be knitting because it's a mystery, but I can show you one of the shawls that I've made from Stephen West.
This guy, maybe.
Melanie and Gail is holding one up. This one is the one I did.
Good. She's all
It's
set.
huge.
And they're really fun to do his knit-alongs because they're a surprise. We'll have 3 classes on Friday afternoon, October 8th, 15th, and 22nd. And then the 29th. Oh, we've got them all up here. Thank you. So if you like playing with color and he's very intriguing, come join us for the knit-along. Thank you.
Okay, super. Thanks, Teresa. Yeah, Teresa's hosted a number of these knit-alongs and they're always fun. So this one is going to be delivered on Zoom. So if you're far away and want to join in, Zoom is the way to go. Next up, we're going to welcome someone from New York City. This is Sarah Solomon. She was a guest at a Fireside chat a while back. She'll be our guest again in a couple of weeks. And so Sarah, tell us about your Fireside chat and also the class you're teaching, please.
Okay, hi everyone. So nice to be here with you. Yes, for Fireside, since I last did the event, I've taken on a new job and I'm the director of knitwear design for a historic woolen mill in New Hampshire called Harrisville Designs. So I have a lot of things to share with you all. I'm going to be talking about that mill, the history of the place, talk a bit about how yarn is made, talk about the kinds of yarn we make, and then I'm going to give you a little preview of the fall collection we're working on, which is my first collection with them. So I'm looking forward to that. I've gathered a lot of photos. So if you would like to see a lot of splendid pictures of mills and beautiful scenery in New Hampshire and yarn, that's what I'll be doing. And then for my class, I'm going to be doing a first sweater knitting class. Sweaters are my passion and they're my favorite kind of knitting and I really like getting other people knitting sweaters as well. So I'm going to be teaching this pattern, which is a very basic raglan pullover. We're going to be using Peace Fleece worsted, which is a lovely yarn. And basically the premise of this class is that I introduce you to everything that's going to happen in the sweater before you go away and knit it. Obviously, we can't spend in this class that many hours together knitting the entire sweater. So what I've done is I developed a shorthand of doing it. We're going to do it in 2 sessions, 2.5 hours long each. And we're going to use what I call working swatches to go through every single thing that you're going to encounter in the pattern so that when you get to it, you've already done it. You've already asked your questions about it. You've written down notes on your pattern about it. And it shouldn't be a terrible surprise. It should just be a pleasant reminder that you're about to do something you've done before. So I've had a lot of success with this class. People really seem to enjoy it, and a lot of people have made their sweater, and that makes me very happy. So that's the plan. If you have any questions about that, let me know.
Any questions for Sarah before we turn her loose?
What's the piece fleece like?
Piece fleece, that's a great question. Piece fleece is a fairly heavy worsted weight yarn. It's a mixture of wool and mohair. And this particular pattern is knit on quite a big needle. It's knit on a 10.5 for most people in stockinette stitch. And what that does, this yarn, it's fairly open gauge for that kind of yarn. But it fills in really beautifully. So the piece is really light in the end and it goes fast. And so that's the idea behind using that particular yarn. It's also very hard wearing yarn, but soft enough to wear all the time. So it's kind of the perfect sweater knitting yarn. I'll talk a lot about that actually in the class, because if you're going to spend the time knitting a whole garment, you really want it to wear well. So we'll talk a bit about yarn choice, even though we're going to use a specific yarn for the class, about how that affects everything about your sweater, from how it drapes to how it feels to how long it's going to last. And that's a very important part of learning to knit sweaters. Does that
Okay,
answer that? Anything else
Thank
you want to
you.
know?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Sure.
let's go back to the big off the screen share. All right, any other questions for Sarah? I'm thrilled you're here, and I'm thrilled that we're offering a Knit Your First Sweater class, because we've been doing a lot of advanced sweater classes, and this is going to be a great opportunity for those that want to be walked through the process with an expert. So thank you for
Going to convert you.
That's right. Is Sarah, Gail, when are the dates of Sarah's class?
Oh, thank you. It's the 22nd and the 29th. And I believe it's at 4 p.m. Mountain Time.
In October? In October.
It's October, yes, October 22 and 29.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And hi, Cheryl.
Okay.
And I apologize, I have to run away to another meeting. It's not because I don't want to hear all about your classes, because they all sound great. And I already want to take that weaving class.
Well, you'll
And
have to
the Fireside chat with Sarah is on October 9th.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. I'm not very good at this. Yes, please come.
You're perfect. All right, Sarah, we'll turn you loose.
Guys.
Thanks for joining us. All right, so from knitting your first sweater to the opportunity to take all those things you learned on your previous sweater experiences and make it your own. Here's Ann Budd, one of our favorite celebrities, teaching lots of classes for us, and they always are full. So let's see what she's got in store for us this fall.
Okay, thank you, Gail. I've got, I guess, 5 classes coming up. 2 of them are multi-session classes. One is design and knit your own socks. So it's basically taking your own foot measurements and using your own gauge to make a pair of socks that fit you. We'll follow the basic instructions in my book, Getting Started Knitting Socks, which are for top-down socks that are worked in the round, obviously, from the cuff to the toe. And it's over 4 weeks. So I will describe and work with you through everything from creating your own pattern based on your gauge and your size to doing Kitchener stitch to finish the toe. It's a lot of fun. You can make any weight yarn you want. I typically make most of my socks out of fingering weight yarn, but in the winter, it's really nice to have some cozy DK or worsted weight yarn socks as well. So that class starts November 5th. Yes. Then another class that I'm very excited about is make it your own top-down raglan sweater, which basically I'm going to help you use the instructions in my book, The Knitter's Handy Book of Top-Down Sweaters, which for those of you who have looked at the book, it's just page after page of charted instructions that accommodate 15 different sizes and 5 different gauges. And we will walk through everything from taking a gauge swatch and determining what size you want to make, to how to add personal details such as patterns along the raglan shaping. You can do a V-neck or a crew neck. You can do a pullover or a cardigan. All of those are possible in this class. Let's see, I'll also explain how to do waist shaping if you want to have it taper in at the waist or go out for a nice swing shape that for some of us of a older generation are finding that looks better. So I work with you. It's a 6-session class that spans 8 weeks, and it'll start on November 6th. And it's really fun. What really gets me is I then design a sweater along with you. So you get to see my design process. The sweaters hanging behind me in my studio here are ones that I designed in recent classes. One was a saddle shoulder class and one was a set-in sleeve. This class with Longmont Yarn Shop is going to be raglans, which have their own design possibilities that are great. And then I've got to go really fast. In December, I'm going to do 3 Fiber Fridays. One on December 3rd is going to be fixing mistakes. And during that class, it's just 1 hour. I'll give you a handout with tips, and then I will demonstrate all the common kinds of mistakes, dropped stitches, a series of dropped stitches, a misturned cable that you can drop down and return. And one of my favorite is when you drop edge stitches, a single edge stitch or multiple edge stitch, and they drop several rows down, and how to pick those up. And then we'll also try doing a little bit of lace surgery where you maybe need to change an SSK, a left leaning decrease, to a right leaning decrease, or you've missed a yarn over, or that kind of stuff. So it's a hard class to teach because people are so creative in the mistakes they make. But I think by the end of this class, you'll have a really good idea of how to tackle most any mistake. And then on December 10th, I'm going to teach a class on sweater seaming. And nothing makes or breaks a hand knit sweater than poor seams. And so I will talk about selvage stitches, and then I will demonstrate, and you can do homework and have a little mini half sweater to work this on. The vertical seam that you would do along the side seam and along the sleeves, then the horizontal seam that happens at the shoulder when you join the front and back at the shoulders. And then the most complicated one is inserting that sleeve cap into the armhole and making that look nice and professional. So again, that is December 10th. And then on December 17th is another one of my favorite classes, which is how do you adjust for a different gauge? You know, you've tried and tried and tried to match the gauge in a pattern and you just can't get it. What do you do? And I will start out by talking about how to take proper gauge measurements and what that entails, and then to make sure that your swatch is being, I guess, lined to you as the smallest amount possible, because swatches do lie. And then how to accommodate if your gauge is not what the pattern recommends. So that's a very empowering class that lets you then move on and do your own thing. And that's it for me. So thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Anne. We're very lucky to have you in our teaching community. So thank you for sharing. Any questions for Anne? I don't see anything in the chat other than the gold sweater looks really familiar, Anne Bud, says Lori King. Yes, it does. These are Anne's examples of some of the previous classes she's taught behind her.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. And the gold one was the set in sleeve class through Longmont Yarn Shop. And I'll tell you, I love that sweater. It fits beautifully. It's very comfortable. I'm very happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Anne. We appreciate you being here. We're
My
gonna
pleasure.
move the hot seat over to Holly. And I'm gonna let you say your last name so I don't mess it up.
It's Holly Yo like a yo-yo.
I knew you said it was really easy and obvious. I just try to make it complicated. Holly comes up to us from the West Coast. In fact, she can tell you where she's zooming in from and what she's going to be teaching this Friday.
Thanks. I'm in Vancouver and it's a lovely sunny day today. It was supposed to rain, so we're happy that there's sun. I am teaching 3 Fiber Fridays on 3 Fiber Fridays. The first one, this coming Friday, is a time-saving tips and tricks. And these are all of the things that I do all the time when I'm knitting. They're little things that just make my knitting a little easier, a little faster, a little more enjoyable. And I realized that not everybody knows them, right? They're just sort of things I've devised, and I'm not suggesting they're unique to me, but I've started sharing them on Instagram and I've made a class of it. And so they're a great opportunity to sort of get an insider's view on ways you can hack your knitting. The other class I'm teaching is runs over 2 Fridays, and it's intarsia and duplicate stitch. And intarsia is a colorwork technique. But there's no stranding. You don't have to carry strands of yarn across the back of your work. You're working in blocks of color. Sometimes it's called picture knitting. And so I'll be teaching everything you need to know about intarsia knitting so that you'll have success with your projects. And then duplicate stitch is another way of adding color to your work. And it's kind of like drawing on the surface of your knitting with yarn. It's kind of like embroidery. So it's sort of tracing the path of the stitches, and you can fill in whole shapes or just lines. You can fix mistakes with duplicate stitch. There's it's very flexible, and it's used in mending too. So those are the classes that I'm teaching.
For those of you that might have come in late, anyone that signs up for a class with us in the next 24 hours through Fiber Friday, you're going to be able to use $10 off any class that's $50 or more, or save $5 off any class that's under $50. And you can do the registration between now and tomorrow when we close. And we'll be here till 7 o'clock taking phone calls if anybody wants to sign up tonight. Holly, we're thrilled you could join us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we're going to transition over here to Mary Balzer, who has popped in to present about the coiled baskets that she teaches. Man, what a fun and popular class this has become at Longmont Yarn Shop. And here's the person behind it all.
Oh, you're so sweet, Gail. I'm Mary, and I'm teaching 2 classes at the beginning level. And the first one actually is October 1st and the 8th. And the second one is the 15th and the 29th. And here's an example of a vessel that you will learn how to coil in the class, like this, or you might want to do a shape like this. We use Fiberflex as a core, and that is included in the price of the class. And you have a list of supplies that you can bring to the class, but we all tend to share anyway if you forget something. I'm also doing an advanced class, which is level 2, and you will learn how to make a vessel with LED lights in it that is attached to a battery pack, like this. It's like a little night light, and it has a battery pack. And then you'll also learn how to make a lid with a handle like this. And
A little bit higher.
yep, can you see it?
There you go. Perfect.
So that's for the level 2 class. And it's been great fun with the students so far. So if you want to join us, October 1st is your day. And hope to see you. Thanks a lot.
All right. I know we have the one October 1st, and then I think we have a second level 1 class. So I think the October 1st class was getting close to full earlier today. Some people might have filled those seats. Any questions for Mary?
Mary, is your class on Zoom or live in the shop?
It's live in the shop.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mary? All right, well, it's great to have you in the shop, and Mary's actually going to
Thanks, Gail.
consign some of her vessels here at the store for those holiday gifts that you want to give that are unique and one of a kind and handmade here in Colorado. So we're excited to have those on display.
Nice. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks,
Oh my
Mary.
gosh, thrilled. All right, next up, we're going to Cheryl's next alphabetically. She's been patiently waiting, I think. I'm looking for Cheryl. I see her name.
I'm here.
Okay. Do we have a video of you, or should we hold up your?
So Gail,
There you
I'm
are.
on my iPhone and on my computer, so
Okay.
do you see?
There's a lot of
Find
people
me?
in the room, and so I'm having, I can't find it right now with the. That's okay. Here we go. We just expanded the screen, so I can't. Okay.
Go down.
I'm trying.
There she is.
Spotlight. Hooray.
Hooray, there I am. I don't like the spotlight, but it's okay. So I've got, I believe 4 classes coming up, and I see they have the stranded knitting on the share screen. So I'll talk about that one first. And on the calendar, the first one up is Learn to Knit. But stranded knitting, you make a hat or a cowl. That is a 1-session class. It's on October 28th. And in that class, you need to know how to knit. Knitting in the round is optional. That's easy enough to teach. And we learn 2 stranded knitting. So you know how to knit, you know how to purl, and the option for the pattern is either a cowl or a hat. I have a couple samples here of some examples I've knit along with the class when I've taught it in the past. There's the cowl, and there's a nice example of the hat as well. So like I said, that's a 3-hour session. We learn how to knit with 2 hands. So if you knit right-handed and you throw, and you've always wanted to learn continental, we'll practice at that, and you're going to learn to hold yarn in your left hand and your right hand. And the opposite, if you continental knit, you're going to learn how to throw with your right hand and carry with your left hand. We'll learn how to strand and tag the knitting, the second yarn color in the back of our knitting, or and talk about all those options on whether you should tag your yarns, let them float, how long floats should be, and all those things about stranded knitting. So that's that class. I have a Learn to Knit class. I don't have the example for that here at my disposal. They do have it at the shop. Here's a nice photo of it on the share screen. This class is really fun. It's a 3-session class, and we make it 3 sessions so that you can see success and you can see your project completed. And we do this these fingerless mitts because it is a project that's completable within the 3 weeks. You learn garter stitch, you learn stockinette stitch. So you're learning knit and purl. You're learning the difference between the combinations of knit and purl and what fabrics they make. And then you learn ribbing at the end. And then you'll also learn how to seam a little bit. So just one big toe into the finishing world you get in this beginning knitting class as well. And then you have these great little mitts, and you can tackle another class of mine, which is called the Perfect Second Knitting Project. So in the Perfect Second Knitting Project, You know how to need to know how to knit and purl, but you're ready to take on a project that's going to take a little bit longer. You're going to end up with a garment or maybe a hat or a shawl or something that's going to be a little more substantive than the mitts from the fingerless mitt beginning class. And so in this class, you have an option of several patterns to choose from. And in the class, it's a 2-session class. In the 2 classes, you'll learn things like yarn overs, how to, depending on which pattern you choose, maybe how to knit in the round if you've not done that before, how to do a different edge stitch if you've not done that before, depending on the pattern you choose. And so also in this class, other students may choose different patterns. So you'll learn a lot from what they're learning from reading their pattern as well. It's a really interactive class. I do a lot of one-on-one time with each person because there may be different patterns chosen by each. This is a nice example of the grain shawl, and that's a pattern that's one of the options to choose in the second project class. Then I think late in November, mid-November, we have another option for stranded knitting class. We do have the hat or cowl, and that's in October. And in November, we'll do a Fair Isle knitted bag. I don't have a sample of this one because each one I've ever made, I've given away as not just as a gift, but as a gift with a gift in it. And for those knit-worthy friends, it's a perfect way to have a reusable, sustainable, they don't have to reuse, you don't have to reuse gift paper or gift bags or things like that. They get this knitted bag as a gift. They could reuse it as a gift bag themselves, or they can keep it to have it as a special bag. I know a friend of mine has hers just hanging on a hook on the back of the door in her dressing room, and she keeps special things in there that she needs to keep handy, and she knows exactly what's in them, and she loves it so much that she wants it out year round. She doesn't want to use it as a gift bag at Christmas and give it away. So your friends or your family will be really excited to get something hand knit with another gift in it perhaps, or just the bag itself as a knitted gift. This is stranded color work, as you can see. So you're going to learn to color knitting just like in the make the cowl or hat class, but instead you'll finish with a knitted bag. This also has eyelets, which is a yarn over around the top of the bag, and it has a 3-needle bind off for the completion of the bag. So those are a few other techniques that are built into this pattern that if you haven't done them before, it'll be something new. I think that's it for my 4 classes coming up in the next couple months. Hope to see y'all there. Tell your friends, learn to knit. If they keep saying, I wish I knew how, when you're knitting in front of them, steer them our way. We'd love to have them. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
I have a quick question about the gift bag. Are we going to learn how to do other sizes? So basically take them and just figure out how to make them larger during the same class?
That is a really good question. Yes, we could absolutely do that. We could do that by doing more stitches and adapting the number of repeats of the pattern, or we can change the gauge to a smaller yarn or change the gauge to a bigger yarn, and we can make them as deep as we like to make them proportionate perhaps. So that's a really excellent question. I'd be happy to have you adapt the bag to whatever size you would like to make it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
And
Cheryl, for the intro to knit class, is there an age limit for the participants in that class, or is it an adult class, or can you have some teens with that?
That's a really good question. We could absolutely have teens in that class. I think, you know, maybe under 10 might be an age break, but then again, maybe not. Some under 10-year-olds are really manually dexterous and pick up knitting quite quickly, and teenagers as well. So absolutely, we'd love to have teenagers or other younger people in that class for sure.
all right. Do we have any other questions for Cheryl? All right. And then Gail wanted me to mention, Cheryl, I think there's a bit of homework before your classes here. Do you want to speak to that?
Oh, that's a good idea. We changed that from a 2-hour class to 1 3-hour session. I did change the homework. Let me look that up quite quickly. What you might do for this class, the homework, you cast on the stitches required for either the hat or the cowl, and you're going to knit the ribbing in the round. So you're going to have the ribbing out of the way so that once we begin at class, we can start right into our 2-color stranded work. Thanks for reminding me, Melanie.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl is also our fantastic host and organizer for Fireside chats. So if you're interested or if you participate in those Fireside chats, she might look a little familiar to you. And then our next teacher that we have here is Christiana, and she's going to talk about some of these really cool crochet projects.
Alrighty, hi everybody. I'm Christiana. I am the crochet teacher here, or one of them anyway. I've got some really cool classes and crochet alongs coming up here. The first thing I have coming up is Crochet 101. So that is the very basic from ground up learn to crochet class. As of about an hour ago, there was only one seat open. So if you're interested in doing that, I would recommend hopping on it pretty quick. So we use the church mouse, scarf and mitt pattern. And it's super simple. We start with chaining and go all the way up to double crochets. And like I was telling Gail, if you don't know what those terms mean, you probably need to take the class. So that is October 9th and 16th at 2 p.m. Those are both Saturdays. The next thing I have coming up is a crochet along. And this is the leaf peeping tea. Where's the camera? There is the camera. So this is a crochet along that will be done over Zoom. It is November 4th and November 11th, right?
Yes.
Yep. From 5 to 6 p.m. So this is a great introduction to sweater construction if you are a crocheter. I decided to do this because, as some of you may or may not know, this is the last print issue of Interweave Crochet. So I kind of wanted to go out with a bang and celebrate the 15 years we had with Interweave Crochet. So this is a very basic sweater. You do need to know your double crochet, singles, and chains. But other than that, we kind of take it from there. So that is over Zoom. My next crochet along is the Cyntia Shawl that is also going to be over Zoom. And it is November 9th and November 23rd. I wanted to put a little space in between the two meetings so that whoever's participating in it has a little time to kind of get the shawl done before we attack the edging. So there's the picture there on the computer. I also have my sample here at the shop. So if you want to take a look at it, it is here and available for you all to look at. This is done out of the Berroco tiramisu. This was actually designed specifically for the tiramisu, which is a yarn brand. And it's designed by the Berroco team. And if you've not made a Berroco pattern yet, whether it's knit or crochet, their patterns are awesome and I highly, highly recommend them. So that is over Zoom and we're gonna do that together. And my last crochet class is my little Amigurumi Snowman. So this is Hank. Say hi, Hank. And this is a great introduction to amigurumi if you have never done amigurumi before. He has very minimal shaping, minimal sewing, and the designer actually did this really cool way to attach the legs so that they actually move. So we will go over all of that. It's not on the website yet. We need to update it, but we will be putting kits together with the yarn to embroider his little mouth, to crochet his little nose. We will also provide the stuffing, and the day of class, we will provide you with the eyes because I don't want to pick the eyes for you guys. So that stuff will all be included in the cost of the class. So that is Hank the Snowman.
And his joints move, which
Yep,
I think
his
are
little legs
really
move.
awesome.
So he is December 2nd and December 9th. That will be in the classroom. And pardon me, I'm bunny trailing back to Crochet 101. That will be in the classroom. That is not a Zoom class. And last but not least, before I hand this back over to Melanie, I have a Berroco yarn tasting coming up on October 12th. which is coming up really fast. Oh my gosh.
Right.
This will be over Zoom. Basically what we do is we sample all the new Berroco fall yarns. It's for knitters, it's for crocheters, and we just kind of play around with the yarn a little bit. So that is over Zoom. It's October 12th at 5:30. So I will turn this back over to Gail and Melanie.
Thank you, Christiana. All right. So next we have an instructor who is one of our fantastic customers, Donna Fisk. And Gail's going to talk a little bit about a knit along via Zoom.
Okay. So Donna is one of those nomads that gets in her motorhome with her husband and goes all over the place. And she doesn't have good internet at the KOA she's at tonight. So I'm covering for her. She's going to lead 2 knit alongs. Super excited about this. The first knit along is the Advent calendar Garland. I think that's what it's called. Mitten Advent calendar knit along. It's on Zoom. And there's a nice picture of what you can do with these. There's 31 mittens in all in the pattern. And the designers done some really neat designs. We have just 3 of them here in the store. If you can see, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. You can choose to do that. These samples were made using Nature Spun Sport. So these would be the perfect size for maybe a gift card or even a little kid's hand, to tell you the truth. And then the ones that the pattern suggests are doing the mittens with Nature Spun fingering. So choose a small mitt and hang a garland, choose a big mitt and Nature Spun Sport. But Donna is one of the folks that's been on a lot of classes here at Longmont Yarn Shop. And I think she's going to be a fantastic teacher on Zoom. She's got a lot of knowledge about stranded knitting. She's taken sweater classes with us, and we get to like class 5 and she's done with her sweater. So I'm thinking she's going to be a great asset to our community. The other thing that Donna's going to lead is the annual, well, so far it's our second annual ball along. Arnie and Carlos are going to be back at Fireside Chats. We don't have that on the website yet, but last year was the 10-year anniversary of their 55 Christmas balls to knit. We did a ball along, and we're going to repeat that again. We do have the limited edition new Rowan yarn that Arnie and Carlos designed. It's a Norwegian yarn coming to support this ball along. And we have books on order from Trafalgar that are the anniversary reprint of those books. Some of you may even have the book on your shelf. It's been around for 11 years now. So you can participate in the ball along with Donna. She's knit so many Christmas balls, you can't believe it. She's knowledgeable about how to do the little cord on the top so that it hangs perfectly. She's knowledgeable about the best stuffing. She was in the ball along last year, and I thought, why am I leading this? You know more about Christmas balls than I do. So she's the leader this year. So that ball along is going to be in November. The dates are all on, the dates. It kicks off November 6th, and these are all Saturdays. So 3 sessions starting November 6th, 13th, and 20th on Zoom from whatever campground she's zooming in from with
awesome.
Good internet. All right, who's next? David Johnson was a beloved teacher at Shuttles, and gosh, do we miss the fact that there's not a yarn store in Boulder. That's like, it's a broken heart for so many of us. I learned to knit on double points with Sharon Dale about it. I learned to weave with Judy. I learned to spin with Maggie. I think I'm not alone in that situation. And David was a regular teacher there. He came over here and taught via Zoom. He's interested in teaching in person. We did not have enough people to fill his class, but here's an example of what David does. His expertise is Sumac weaving. The thing about Sumac, it looks like knit stitches on the horizontal axis or the curved axis. And the way he describes it, he sets his threads at 6 ends per inch. He calls that finger friendly. You learn in his class using the loom that he makes. It's included in the class fee. He's a man of minimal accessories. He uses very little outside of his fingers, a scissor and a pointy thing to push in the ends. He's not
Fork.
into.
I think we used a
fork.
fork in class.
Yeah, speak to, you hosted the last class.
Yeah, I was able to take David's class in December, January of this year, and it was a ton of fun. I'm a knitter and I also am a painter. So this kind of hit that sweet spot of being able to paint with fiber. And you really are able to do it from the beginning. You have no idea how to, warp a loom or anything like that. And you are able to create a graphic, and then he'll also show you how to rewarp your loom so you can get going on your next project. So it's a great size and it's a really nice loom if you're interested in getting to just getting into weaving.
So we will book those classes again. We're just trying to decide, is it best for us to offer that class on Zoom or in person? This is not the loom that he makes. The loom that he makes is a little bit simpler. You work on one end to learn, and then he has you flip it over and work on the other end to apply your own design in your cartoon. So if anybody is interested in that class and wants to weigh in on their preference of learning on Zoom versus in person, and when they might be interested in participating in a class, we might be able to build up enough interest to offer that again. So that's about David. Next up, well, any questions about David's tapestry weaving classes? All right, Doreen likes yarn tasting. Yeah, don't you hate it though when all that yarn gets caught in your teeth? That was bad. All right, let's turn it over to Jennifer Miller. While we're finding Jennifer, okay, if anybody hasn't met Jennifer's bamboo yarn, you're missing out. We have people calling in from all over the United States trying to get their hands on this stuff, and we do our best to fill their needs. So we're glad that Jennifer is local, and we're glad she's teaching with us. At least one class on the books and many more possibly to be scheduled. You want to speak to that, Jennifer?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's my privilege and honor to be part of the Longmont Yarn Shop and to be located here in Longmont, which is the most fun place I've ever lived, I think. And so I'm really excited about the classes I'll be teaching this fall and some of the other ideas I have coming up. So I want to tell you about, I'll be teaching 2-color brioche in the round. And there's a picture of one of the cowls of brioche in the round. And here's another one. Brioche is a really interesting stitch. It's great for, it makes the most beautiful, perfect vertical stripes, as you can see demonstrated here in this photo. And also it creates a reversible fabric. So you can see on this one, the gold is sort of coming to the front, is on the top, but if you turn it around to the other side, you'll see that the blue that was in the background is now on the top. So it creates a beautiful, squishy, thick, reversible fabric. And it has a lot of variations too, that are also really beautiful, but I'm very excited to be teaching it this year. And many people have come to my classes saying, I don't know if I can get it. It is so complicated. The truth is, it's really not complicated. It is a slip stitch technique, but it has different vocabulary and different symbols and different stitch abbreviations. So it almost feels like learning to knit all over again because nothing looks familiar in the patterns. But once you get going, it's super easy and you can really become familiar with what you're doing quickly. So in the class, we will do a 2-color cowl like this one or the one in the picture. I have a huge pile of them right here. Here's another one that the colors kind of change in the middle. And we will start with this. We're going to do a 90 stitch cowl in the round, which is real easy to understand everything that you're doing in the class. So you'll be familiar with the brioche knit stitch and the brioche purl stitch by the end of class and be able to tell what you're doing and where you are and how to read the symbols and the patterns. And just to show you a few, you can bring colors to the front and back. Like this one has several different colors, front and back. You can do all different kinds of stuff with it. There's another one. There's a Liberty print with a solid behind it. And there you can see the solid pink and behind it on the other side. With a 90 stitch cowl, you make a really great kind of a collar. I mean, this is the fabulous cowl I love. Really warm on that windy, cold day. A useful piece, and you'll learn Oops, lost my headphones. And you'll learn to stitch and be very familiar with what you're doing. By the end of it, you'll feel confident. And then you can go on from there into making a brioche hat, which there's a beautiful one there in 2 colors. And you can see that it is reversible there like that. And then as a bonus, Elisa Barton, who's my design partner, who does a lot of patterns for my yarns, is premiering these 2 new brioche cowls. One of them is called Crazy Ivan. I can't remember what the other one. Anyway, there's 2. There's a variation of brioche there. This is a bigger cowl. Also really comfortable though. And there's another one, similar, a similar 2-color cowl, all reversible. And these are, we will be having the yarn for these in the shop. This is a bespoke wool and silk DK that is being spun to my order now and is exclusive to Theodora's. So super excited for that. So there's we're going to have the patterns for these coming up in the next couple of weeks. If you are familiar with brioche, or if you want to take the class, then you'll be ready to tackle these 2. That one is so pretty too. All in wool and silk DK, super soft, super lofty, super squishy, the best kind of knitting. So just a quick, a couple other things in my consciousness. One is the Peace Knit Along, which I'm so happy to lead every year in Advent, starting around the 1st of December. We're waiting to see what date that's going to drop this year, but you can watch for that. And that's always a free knit along, and it's usually a pattern designed by Christina Campbell, whose website is called The Healthy Knitter. And she's talking about what she's going to do this year. And she's saying that it's going to be a shawl that you can do in any weight of yarn. But the Peace Knit Along is so wonderful, wonderful for the season. And it's a very mindful, very intentional knit. And we all have it's very sweet, very loving, and very quiet kind of knit along. Super wonderful and perfect for observing the season, the season of light at the end of the year. I have a bunch of other ideas too, including ladderback jacquard stranded knitting, which is a way of carrying the floats behind that's very easy. And another, and then I have another idea for a design your own shawl knit along. I'll get around to it. Might be the first of the year, but these are some of my ideas. So if any of these spark your interest, please let Gail know or make a note to yourself. And but come and see me. I guarantee, okay, as best as I can guarantee, I guarantee that you will get and understand brioche by the end of this class. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Really appreciate it. And you're always so much fun to hang out with. So looking forward to those classes. All right. So I know we've only got a couple minutes left, so I will make this quick on our next one. We have Kathy Partridge, who is another one of our fantastic customers. And she is hosting a class called, oops, doing too many things at once. There we go. She's hosting Ravelry 101, which if you have ever been introduced to Ravelry, you know what an incredible tool it is. And you also know that there are so many features that you can use. So there are, Ravelry groups, you can find friends, you can find stash, you can buy from other people, make all sorts of projects. So Kathy's going to walk us through all of those ins and outs to make sure that you're making Ravelry work best for you. And you can make a Ravelry account for free, and you'll want to do that before your first class to make sure you get the most out of the class. And then you'll be able to play around and see all of those great features, track projects, learn from designers, buy patterns, all that great stuff. So this is a really helpful tool for teachers and students alike. So I would really encourage you to check out Ravelry 101. And then we also have Chris Bart, who is teaching felted slippers and felted hats. So her first class, felted clogs, right here. We are doing one class on Zoom and one class in person. So choose whatever works best for you. She's a really great teacher, and she's going to inspire you to make some great felted projects. I know when I first started knitting, I made felted bags, and they're really fun to do. So you knit up this larger slipper here. It's got a really nice plush heel, and then you felt it down to your exact size. So this makes a really great winter gift for yourself or for your loved ones. And again, you can do that from the comfort of your own home or here at the shop. We've got a great magic felting machine that you can do that here if you'd like to. And then she's also teaching another class for felted hats. And this is a really fun project because you get to choose different types of brims. There's a great photo there. So another great hat and great project for the winter. And you can also felt it down to your exact size and add cute little felted features as well. And I believe this one is in person. Yes, thank you very much. All right, so after Chris, we have Mary Ann, and she's going to talk to us about helix knitting. You want to come over here?
Can I get there without throwing everything on the floor? Do it. Yeah. I'm fighting with all the cords on the floor more than anything else. So helix knitting, we are going to make this 13.5-inch cowl. And really this is all about knitting in a helix, in a spiral, and jogless stripes. So to do this project, we are using the Fino minis, and these are 70% wool, 30% silk. They're absolutely gorgeous. You have your choice of colorways, whatever we have in the store, you have your choice. And you use about 3/4 of the wool to make one of these. So you have some left over, or you can make it a little bit more generous if you like. So come learn how to do jogless stripes, and you can use that for sweaters and other projects as well. It's just a fun technique to do. So thank you, Melanie.
Thank you, Marianne.
It's all yours.
All right. And then next we have Robin Wilton. I think I see you there, Robin. And Robin is going to be talking to us about Inka loom weaving.
Okay.
Could you unmute yourself, Robin?
Sorry, I know
Okay.
better. I'm a weaver, and we're going to be learning how to weave on an Inka loom, which is like this. And I guess I should get part of that. Yeah. And we do have looms that are available for you to borrow while you're in class. It's an all-day class on October 23rd. And some of the things that you can do with, it's a band weaving project. So what you can do with the bands are things like, these are mug rugs, or you can do pieces that are long and narrow like belts. This is a dog leash. I do ornaments. So there's all kinds of things that we can do with the weaving. And hopefully you will like to take my class. It's an all-day class, so you may or may not get it all done in one day, but you can borrow the looms and finish up in a week. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much, Robin. Appreciate it. Now we have a lot of people really excited about Inka loom weaving.
Yeah, I just wanted to put in a plug. I was trying to type, but please offer it another date too, because I can't come on that date. Maybe after the holidays.
Good to know. Thank you.
I can tell you, I took Robin's class and it was amazing. I wove away my little soul, and it was super fun to be there with her. So.
Did you get it finished?
Not quite. I was busy chatting. But she let me keep the loom for a week. So is Stephanie gone?
Yeah, Stephanie had to head out.
Okay, we'll cover for her.
All right. Thank you very much, Robin. All right, next we have the fantastic Rebecca, who happens to be in the shop because we've got spinning going on in the back here. So if you hear a little background noise, apologies, but Rebecca's going to talk to us about punch needle rug hooking.
All right, we have 2 classes coming up. We've got a design and transfer class, and that's for people who do know how to do punch needle rug hooking. But if you're interested in this class, you can take a private lesson and we can get you up to speed. And this is a super fun class. We go over how to get a pattern onto the monk's cloth, all different tips and tricks and color theory. And I'll bring my big light box to class and everyone gets to trace one large pattern or a few small ones onto their monk's cloth. So it's one of I really enjoy teaching that class, my favorite one. The other one we have is the mug rug class. What's great about this class is it allows you to try punch needle rug hooking without having to buy any of the tools. So we have needles that the shop owns and frames. And so you'll come and do a wonderful little mug rug with a cork back and get to try it without having to buy a needle or buy a frame. So it's a great way to experiment with punch needle rug hooking. That's all for me.
Awesome, thanks so much. Great. And our next person up is going to be Sandy, and I see you up there, Sandy.
Hey everybody, it's been a long time. So I'm excited to do another year of Sweater Club. We've done it for several years in a row, and I've enjoyed getting to know a lot of people during this time. We've had a cycle through. We have some loyal people, and then we always have some new people that come in. You don't have to be an experienced knitter to do sweaters. In this class, we kind of guide you through it. Last year and this year, what I did is I decided to pick a designer and then let you guys pick the sweater from that designer. So this year, we're going to do Joji Locatelli, who's everybody, if you've done the fiber chats, she was in there. I think she's an Argentina designer, and she's got lots of sweaters to choose from, different weights for all seasons and so on and so forth. The last one there in the white, which is called the Tomas, is the one I'm going to pick from her selection. So, and then the next designer we picked, so we do one sweater in 2 months. And then the next designer I picked was Carol Feller, and she's an Irish designer who does a lot of stuff with color work and also cables, and she's got a lot of different choices to choose from. She does a great job in teaching short rows and allowing you to learn short rows in a neat way in a pattern. So a lot of fun patterns. Patterns are written very well. And then the last one, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, it's Anne Kistrick. And again, she's a German designer, and she does a lot of things with various weights of yarns, and is really a top-down type of designer. So you pick one sweater out of each designer, and then in 2 months you get to finish that. So we aren't too strict about it being until knit along, but we do encourage people to try these different designers. Last year we did 3 different designers. One was Thea Coleman, and she was the most popular. I got the best feedback from that one. This was one sweater I did. It was called the Jameson. And then, of course, Tin Can Knits was another sweater designer we did last year. I don't have any samples of today's designers because I'm going to knit right along with everybody else. But we did Tin Can Knits, and I got great feedback on that one as well. So we have a lot of fun. It's very laid back. Sometimes people are eating their dinner during the time we're all hanging out, enjoying each other's company and knitting. It's going to be on Zoom, so I'm excited about that. So please sign up. And I'm here to help you any step of the way along with those sweaters. It goes over the course of 6 months, and we really build a bond. Does anyone have any questions? I know I look different.
You look marvelous. You do look different though. So we just got to sign up. Susan Kennedy today signed up and said, I can't wait to be back with my friends on Zoom and back in Sweater Club. She misses that. So she's in.
Yeah, so being on Zoom, you can do it from any part of the country.
All right. Any questions for Sandy in Montana? We're like all over the US here. Okay. Sandy, thanks for zooming in.
Sure. Have a good evening, you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so we've got 2 more classes that we want to highlight. One is going to be our instructor, Andy Graves. She also heads Crochet in the Park on Wednesdays. So let us know if you're interested in doing that. And once the weather gets a little bit cooler, we're going to be doing crochet in the back of the shop. And I think it's twice a month. Is that right?
The first, third, and fifth, if there happens to be a fifth Wednesday, from 11:30 to 1:30.
Awesome. And then Andy is going to be teaching Roly-Poly Sheep. This is a needle felting project, and it is very cute. I've actually been playing with it this whole time. It uses these great locks of hair and some really nice hard felt here and some eyes. And this is a really, really fun project. And this is going to be via Zoom. So you can do this from the comfort of your own home as well. And then Andy is also going to be teaching the needle felted angel. And this is an ornament. We hang this up by the cash wrap and get so many compliments about this. So Andy has this really great style for needle felt. It's a nice and firm type of design. And you can see there's like a lot of texture and smoothness. So she's going to be teaching this on November 20th from 12 to 3. And this is also going to be on Zoom as well. All right. Then we have Stephanie. Stephanie is one of our spinning instructors. She's also a weaver, and she also does needle felting. She was on the call, but she had to jump off. So we're going to talk to you about the St. Nicholas needle felting event. And this comes with a kit, but the little felted St. Nick looks like this. Very, very cute. You use, again, those great sheepy locks for the beard, and is just a really great little stand for your table during the holidays. This class is going to be on December 4th from 11 to 2, and we have kits available in the shop for this class. All right, and then she's also going to be teaching the needle felted gourds and pumpkins. This is going to be in the shop, and you're going to make the price includes roving to make about 3 to 5 small pumpkins and gourds. And this is a really sweet little decoration for your desk and for your house. And this is going to take place on the 13th from 11 to 1 p.m. All right. Did I miss anything? Spinning, yes. The second time. So we also, Stephanie also teaches Spinning 101. I'm really excited to take this class. And this is going to be in the classroom on October 7th. I believe there's usually 3 sessions for this class, and you're going to learn how to use a drop spindle, a spinning wheel, and then she's also going to talk to you about plying on a spindle and just the general construction of fiber itself. So this is a great class if you're interested in spinning, and maybe you're interested in getting some tools for spinning, but you're not really sure how to jump in. So consider doing that Spinning 101. I'll see you in that class. And then we also have Spin In that happens. Our group here meets every week on Tuesdays on Zoom and Sundays at Luna. But the last Tuesday of the month, which is tonight, we meet from 6 to 8 p.m. at the back of the shop, and we get together and we spin and we do show and tell. So also please come out and join us for that. All right. Did we cover everything, Gail? What do you think?
I don't think we hit sugar skulls.
Sugar skulls.
You know, we care about classes a lot. Oh, and yes, Operation Sock Drawer. So let's hit sugar skulls while Melanie transitions, and then we'll go to Sock Drawer. And then we just want to hit on some of the community events you can participate in. So this is the coolest thing. This needle felted sugar skull is specifically embellished and decorated under the guidance of Stephanie, and she knows a lot about making these sugar skulls look authentic. A lot of white roving, and then the perfectly applied embellishments to make for your perfect sugar skull for decorating for Day of the Dead. We also, as a yarn store, are going to be participating in the big Day of the Dead celebration on Saturday, October 9th. So if you'd like to be part of our community representing the store at the Sugar Skull Day of the Dead celebration, you'd be helping kids make Ojos de Dios, or God's eyes, and we would pay you in bandit bucks for your participation next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next, between 2 and 6. It's a fun event and good to give back to our community. And the class is when, I don't see it,
The sugar spells.
October 16th, 11:30 to 1:30, taught by Stephanie. Operation Sock Drawer.
Whoa. All right. I was going and I totally forgot about my class. So I'm hosting a knit along and this starts the first Monday of October. And we're going to be working through 4 patterns in the Operation Sock Drawer book. I'm a huge fan of the Knit More Girls. They were some of the first podcasts that got me going on knitting before I had a great knitting community here in Longmont. So I'm looking forward to working through 4 of these patterns, one every month from October to January. This is going to be our October sock. This is Meandros by Sandy Rosner. And we're also going to be having a Fireside chat with the designer for our November pattern as well. So that's exciting. So if you are an intermediate sock knitter, you've already knit a sock before and you're looking to push your skills, we're going to be doing some slip stitches, some brioche socks for our January sock, which is a really plush ski snowboarding sock. And we'll also be doing some stranded knitting and socks. So really excited about that. This is going to be meeting in Longmont Yarn Shop, but I think we have someone joining on Zoom. So we might do a little bit of a hybrid on that one. If you're far away and want to join us, let us know. And we will be excited to have you. So this is Operation Sock Drawer Knit Along starting next week, I think. 2 weeks. All right.
October 4th. All right, now did we get it all?
I think so.
All right. So just a couple other things. We do have ongoing Fireside chats. They're typically scheduled on the weekend these days. You heard about Sarah Solomon coming up on Saturday, October 9th at 2 o'clock. She'll be teaching the first sweater class later on in October. This Saturday, we have Kim McBrien Evans. She's a rather full-figured woman, and she likes to help people knit and make things that feel comfortable on a full-figured body. So if you think you could learn some things from her about that approach, she has a software that she recommends that you can see what garments look like on you. And you can click on the Fireside chat link under classes and see a little bit more about her description. We have a lot of people that are signing up. I think it's an interesting topic to many people. And that's this Saturday at 2 o'clock Mountain. Then just some other opportunities for us to offer you. Community handwork in the back of the store has been happening on Tuesday afternoons between 1 and 3 for a couple months now. It's a loud, enthusiastic group. It's great to have them in the store. So if you're looking for some community on Tuesday afternoons, come on in. Friendly bunch, and bring your handwork and bring something that is mindless that you don't have to concentrate on because you won't be able to. It's a great bunch. And then the next thing we offer is community handwork via Zoom. Teresa facilitates that. It's the second Friday of each month from 6 to 8. We have participants from Texas that log in. We have participants from Wyoming, and of course we have our local community. So there's always room at the table for community handwork on Zoom. Then Sip and Stitch, the second Wednesday of each month, we rotate between local venues and celebrate community by supporting a local brewery or maybe a cidery. Our next Sip and Stitch event, I think, is October 13th-ish, and it's going to be at Wibby Brewing. And we usually have a pretty good turnout of people having some community together. So we invite anybody to come. We always pick a location that has non-alcoholic beverages. So you don't need to feel like you've got to go there and drink alcohol if you don't want to, but you can if you'd like. And then Melanie mentioned spin-in. The other thing I can tell you about is weave-in. Weave-in is in the building in person on the first Monday of the month, unless the first Monday happens to be the 4th of July or a holiday or something like that. Stephanie Flynn Sokolov leads that. She brings in her little wolf pup, Cherry, and drags it from the front of the store to the back and weaves for an hour and inspires everyone and gives great tips and tricks. There's lots of show and tell and laughter, and that will happen next Monday if you're interested in joining. I think the only other thing I want to remind you about is that every Sunday, Christiana and one of the staff presents Fiber at 4. That's a live Facebook event. Christiana spends a lot of time planning and delivering relevant information about what's going on at the store, some of the projects that are happening, and there's always some kind of a theme around our community or around a project or around getting ready for the holidays or getting ready for Halloween. And so if you're looking for something to do on Sunday at 4 o'clock, Christiana will keep you entertained for a solid 45 minutes to an hour. And that is always recorded and then saved to our YouTube channel, so you can catch it as a repeat there. I think we did it.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you to all of our teachers. We're really looking forward to all of those classes, and let us know if you have any questions and give us a call to sign up.
All right. And thank you for coming. We're going to be here till 7 taking payment over the phone. Again, our software doesn't allow for you guys to do this online. I'm sorry, but we're happy to sign you up for any classes you'd like. Give us a ring and we will take care of you. Or tomorrow, if that's better for you, we can honor that discount tomorrow. Signing off.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Gail, it's very wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. All righty. Bye, everybody.